Most people claim to value truth. They believe their goal is an accurate understanding of reality. But observation of human behavior reveals a different, more pressing priority.
Here, we find a fundamental contradiction. The stated objective is understanding, but the actual behavior is a search for fast answers. When confronted with the cognitive load of not knowing, the default response is not deeper inquiry, but the most rapid path to resolution. Certainty becomes the primary objective, overriding the more complex pursuit of accuracy.
There is an irony here. The very state required for genuine learning, that is, uncertainty, is treated as a defect to be corrected. Once the feeling of certainty is achieved, the psychological reward is immediate. It brings a sense of stability and reassurance. This leads to the central question of our analysis. Why is the state of certainty so compelling?
To answer this, we must first examine how certainty functions as a cognitive instrument. We will explore the inherent conflict between the process of inquiry and the demand for resolution.
Functionally, certainty is a simplifying mechanism. It reduces a complex world of possibilities to a single manageable conclusion. This dramatically lowers the cognitive effort required to navigate a situation. Uncertainty demands continuous evaluation and processing. Certainty closes that open cognitive loop. For a system optimized for energy conservation, this registers as a gain in efficiency.
On a neurological level, uncertainty is processed as a potential threat. It engages the same neural pathways responsible for vigilance and danger assessment. When an outcome is unknown, the brain enters a state of high alert. This is a metabolically expensive state. Certainty provides the all-clear signal, allowing the system to return to a lower state of energy consumption. The relief from this state reinforces the desirability of certainty itself. This preference for resolution is not random. It is driven by specific internal mechanisms that systematically bias the mind toward definitive answers and away from a state of ambiguity. This mechanism is known as the need for cognitive closure. It is defined as the desire for a firm answer to a question in order to eliminate the discomfort that comes with ambiguity and confusion. It is, in essence, a drive to terminate the cognitive process of deliberation. This drive operates within a self-reinforcing cycle. First, a state of high uncertainty generates a strong motivation for an answer. Second, a definitive answer is located, which provides the desired closure. Third, once closure is achieved, the mind actively resists new information that might reopen the question. And fourth, situations that could reintroduce uncertainty are systematically avoided. The system is architected to protect the conclusion.
This internal cognitive process does not operate in isolation. It is powerfully reinforced by an external system of social rewards, which consistently prioritizes the appearance of certainty over the process of inquiry.
In social context, certainty is often interpreted as a proxy for competence. An individual who expresses a conclusion without doubt is perceived as being more knowledgeable and therefore more authoritative.
This perception of authority translates directly into social influence. A certain individual is granted more weight in group decisions, and their positions are more likely to be adopted by others. The influence, in turn, validates and reinforces the original certainty. The social rewards received for being decisive create a positive feedback loop, making the individual's position even more rigid and resistant to change. Within a group, beliefs become markers of identity. Certainty about those beliefs stabilizes one's sense of self and one's place within the collective. When that certainty is shared, it strengthens the bonds of the group. Groups as systems tend to reward predictability. Uncertainty is inherently unpredictable and is often treated as a source of social friction to be minimized.
While this architecture provides cognitive and social efficiencies, it also entails significant systemic costs. An analysis of this certainty-driven mindset reveals several negative consequences that stem directly from its inherent inflexibility.
The psychological cost of revising a core belief is exceptionally high. It requires acknowledging internal inconsistency, which produces cognitive dissonance. It involves admitting error, which is perceived as a threat to the ego. It demands the reconstruction of a mental model, which requires significant mental effort. And if the belief is tied to identity, revising it can feel like a threat to one's existence. Given these high costs, maintaining certainty becomes the path of least resistance.
The consequences at a system level are direct. Information filtering begins, where confirming data is accepted and contradictory data is rejected.
This creates an illusion of understanding that halts further exploration. As a result, learning either slows or ceases entirely. The system's adaptability is reduced, and when applied across large populations, this dynamic amplifies social polarization.
This analysis exposes a fundamental tension between the psychological comfort that certainty provides and the cognitive growth that it inhibits.
Certainty is not in itself a negative state. It is necessary for decision-making and action. The system becomes problematic only when the desire to feel certain becomes stronger than the desire to understand, when the need for a final answer overrides the function of curiosity.
If certainty provides psychological comfort but can limit learning, how can individuals maintain confidence while remaining open to revision?